Hey, Chris here from Planning Phase Syndicate. Before we start the show tonight, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a Portland game store in Oregon that is hosting an X-Wing benefit tournament called You Can Do, a childhood cancer summer camp program. The tournament is next weekend, so if you can make it, the tournament itself is only $20 and proceeds are going to help provide a medically supervised camp programming for families with adolescents fighting cancer in Oregon. This has been going on since 1986. You Can Do has served more than 1,600 families. Now, this has a little bit of a personal feeling close to home for me. I can't make it to Portland, but they have offered to set up a donation link, which we will link right in the description of the show, called You Can Do Donation, where you can donate money without having to actually be there for it. If you want to play the tournament, hey, go ahead. It's a great charity event where they give all the money essentially to this You Can Do foundation. But if you would like to, you're more than welcome to go ahead and just throw a $10 or more donation towards this event. Their goal is to raise $15,000 or $1,500 this year to offset the cost of sending a single child to the camp for a whole week. A player has donated a pair of those amazing sparkly dice, which I don't have a picture of, but you can imagine them, right? They're the world's dice that some people have. I don't have them, but some people have them, and you can win as each $10 donation that you make will give you a chance to win the raffle for it. So come out, support a good cause if you can. If you can't, hey, throw a $10 donation, because again, there's a lot of people whose families are in need, and this is an amazing cause. Thank you. The link is in the description. Now, for your regular programming delight, here's Planning Phase Syndicate. Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate, episode 128. We're going to do Battle of Endor preview and some Fangs Out discussion. Tonight, JJ finally returns from his sabbatical as the prodigal son tonight. Still wearing his Lions hat, though now he owes me 2 more weeks of having to wear that in the off season. But we're going to be talking about his run in PAX tonight with his Fangs Out Tournament. We're also going to talk about the Singapore World Qualifier, a few other store champs, and if that was not enough, we have Battle of Endor lined up for you. We don't know if these are true cards, but we're going to guess based on some of the craziness and the wording schemes in them. The probability is very high that they are real. Joining me tonight on mic is going to be Alex, the bench warmer himself. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. Let's just not talk about the Lions game today. That'll be fine.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. That's how awesome they did today. Also joining us is the prodigal son himself, JJ. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be back. I've been off for a little bit. So right before Thanksgiving, I went down to Florida. I had a stream scheduled over there. Unfortunately, the store closed a lot sooner than I could set up my stream gear. I originally was going to run a live stream of the Children of Mandalore scenario pack with Krabok, who is another streamer. He does general board games over there. Unfortunately, we just didn't get time to get it recorded all the way, but that was a ton of fun. We did post a separate video of a quick game that we did of that on his channel, so check it out when you guys have time. Came back the following Sunday, tired and exhausted. We had driven to Florida and driven back, and then last week I went out to PAX. All set up and ready with my gear to go get a live stream for PAX, and Gold Squadron was able to do it, only to be told by the staff there at PAX that I was not allowed to plug in for electricity at any point. So I had battery backups, and thanks to Chris Allen as well, who actually offered to help me out there as well for my cameras. However, my laptop that actually runs the stream needed a power source, and I would get through like maybe 30 minutes of a game before my laptop would have died. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a stream for PAX, but I got to see a lot of people again over at PAX, had a great time, and got to play some Star Wars Unlimited. And my goodness, am I going to go hard for that game? It is such a fun game.
Yeah, so we'll have to do like a discussion later on, I think, about Unlimited. Maybe during the holiday break or something like that. Because there is some speculation and some talk around it. So it looks pretty cool to me. I heard somebody got me some promos that they're gonna have to send me.
Yes, and I'll actually find those here because I have them nearby, and I'll put them on. Hang on.
So that was pretty fun. This weekend, I was gone to Ludington. My nephew had a hockey tournament, and we went out. I went out with him to watch him, and I could tell you, draws are such a pain in the ass. Like, really, they just are not super fun in any sport that you play. His team won the first game. We're winning the second game, but ended up drawing. And then the last game, they got their asses handed to them. So we didn't get into the finals. You got them sideways, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Those are cool.
Those are yours, buddy.
Awesome. And then I got to, so Saturday night, my nephew's never played X-Wing before, and he always bugs me. And so he was like, hey, you want to play some X-Wing? I'm bored. Sure. And of course, we go to play. Guess what? Who forgot his damage deck at home? So we just used player cards and just called everything non-crits, which is probably better for a beginner anyway, because if you think about it, like him taking all the crits on Han would not have been a fun day. He would have been pretty pissed off. But I could tell you, stupid Han list is good even in a hand of a player that has never played X-Wing ever in his life. That list still can kick out and kill and hit things. But the exciting part was we ended up having, like, I don't know, like 10 people stop by. And I guess that's kind of what I want to kick off the show with is we talk a lot about, you know, visibility and how do we get more players into X-Wing. I feel like we should all be going to like malls or something and demoing this game ourselves. Because I literally had 10 people come up and ask me what it is. And of course, it's Michigan, right? So everybody's around. And everybody goes, I don't know. And I was like, well, where do you live? Oh, you live in Granville. Oh, you live in, you know, north of Grand Rapids. Here's the name of my store. Come down Monday. You can play for free. Just show up. I'll tell you what, if we have enough new people, we'll let you all play. And the rest of us who have played for years will just sit back and, you know, coach you. But it was kind of, a fun time because I was able to show this one kid and his dad came back down. And his dad was like, yeah, my son really is into Star Wars and he saw your game and now he's going to probably make me buy it. And I was like, well, send him down to the store first. Tell him to play the game with us first before you go out and buy it. That way he can at least like enjoy that piece of it. So I don't know, JJ, I haven't bought any of the new starter pack stuff, but I assume you did because you needed the Vader. So yes, if you were to buy just those two starter packs, is that enough for somebody to start the game out with? If you bought a Rebel and a Empire one?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had a few months ago, we actually had a couple that came in and they had purchased one of each and they pretty much got right into the game. Had their standard loadout pilot cards and they had everything that they needed to get started and play a full match. And we walked them through it. So yeah, it's definitely possible to do that with just the starter packs.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
So
and on another note, I do agree with you. Like having like demoing the game, like seeing it like on the table and stuff, while I was playing in PAX, I mean, we had a constant flow of people stopping by the tables, to like taking a look at what we were playing and asking questions about it. And the judging staff was really good at fielding the questions and running them through what the game looks like and stuff, and like telling them where to find the stuff, the game and stuff. And I'm telling you, like the number one seller for this game is the players, because the models are iconic, they're great, it looks fantastic on the board. And when you get people that are animating the game and talking about it, I mean, you're going to get new players into the game that way, easy.
fair enough. But anyway, I just kind of thought that was, I don't know, that was it's weird, like I've been kind of bored with the current points meta, and I've been very much wanting a points change, but being able to play some of the stuff with newer players and show people, then that was pretty fun. That was kind of brought me back to when I first started in the game and was like, "Oh, what does this do?" Oh, until somebody showed me Torkoal Mux and I wanted to murder them. So, um, my
And then you
nephew,
met
it's
me.
yeah, my nephew and his father, my brother-in-law, they have a running list. I don't know if they actually keep the list, but they have this running list of things Tanner hates. Because I say I hate that so much, I guess. And it was funny because we were playing the game and I was like, God damn it, I hate that Han. And he's like, oh, that's number 172 of things you hate on Tanner's list. And it's like, yeah, okay. Well, we won't introduce you to Torkoal Mux. And then we don't have to deal with it. So, with that being said, I think there was somebody that actually played in the tournament this weekend. Mr. Alex, your Michigan team played in the Rust Cup, which we talked about a little bit last week. How did your Rust Cup experience go?
It was very fun. Name puts, always puts on great tournaments. Location is probably one of the best game stores I've ever been to. Had a bunch of room, bunch of great guys. There was 4 teams. Most of them had 6 or 7 people. We only had 5. And it was great. And we won. Detroit's on top, just like a map, right above Ohio.
Yeah, you know why Detroit won is because the West Side decided they didn't want to show up this year. So we're like, hey, we're gonna give the East Side a win for the year.
They offered. They said that we could host it up here in Michigan. I told them there's absolutely no reason for that. No one will show up. Just the Grand Rapids crew. And like their store is so much cooler. It's such a great store. Recess games out in North Olmsted. It's only about like a 2.5 hour drive too. It wasn't bad. Got an Airbnb. Stayed over last night. Um, Actually got around to having a discussion about, you know, 11, 12 hours before the whole tournament itself. So that minor prep work paid off.
Which is funny because last year we did the same thing. We stayed in a Airbnb and we sat around the night before and talked about who we were going to match up with who based on the list and stuff like that. And then you guys came in and you're like, hey, we didn't do any planning. We just got drunk. I was like, oh, okay. All right. And then look, this time you guys came out on top.
No, they got drunk and I needed something to do during work, so I made a bunch of notes about, hey, here's what we should do for matchups.
It sounds like you should have taken over the Star Killers team with JJ retiring.
Jeez, that's a lot of effort. I'm not even team captain. There's just Matt didn't even play since like GT, and he's our team captain.
Oh wow!
Didn't even know what list he wanted to run. So we're just like, here, just take Ray. Ray will just murder everything, and that's what he did. We all went 3-1, except for Grauberg, who went 3-0-1. He was, for half the tournament, the most successful Separatist player at one tie. Everyone else lost.
Yeah, go figure, right? Did he play a separatist list when you had to put it in it's in there?
Yeah, he just wanted to play it in the first round and get it over with so he can have like the variety medal they give. I also played Republic for the first round. But I play Republic occasionally anyway, so it was not that big of a deal. And then technically, I think I had top in faction and Scum. Grauberg had top in Empire. Top in Empire, and Cody had top in FO, which shouldn't be surprising there. So, won a bunch of really cool stuff. And then we went to the brewery afterward that we always go to. I got to hang out with a bunch of the Pittsburgh crew. They're super cool. And yeah, it was a great time. I absolutely love that team format and everyone down there. It's the best part about Ohio.
Except for it's Ohio. So that's kind of, yeah, you got to take it down a little bit because of that. So people are cool, but the state is, yeah.
They give us just as much flack about Michigan, so it's justified.
But Michigan's a little bit better. I'm just gonna make that statement for somebody that has lived in both of the states. I can honestly make that statement that Michigan is better. Period.
One of these days we'll take back Toledo.
Yeah, maybe. Well, all right. Well, I'm glad everybody had a good weekend and stuff like that. I think what we want to do is, as we're kind of going through things, why don't we roll into the Fangs Out discussion real quick? JJ essentially played in a Fangs Out tournament. And I'm going to go over the rules real quick. And then what we could do is kind of get into, what happened, what your run was, any of that fancy stuff. So essentially, a Fangs Out tournament is the same thing as a regular tournament, a Star Champ tournament, right? Except for the difference is the event time rounds are only 60 minutes. And then on top of that, you have a timed planning phase. So your planning phase is 2 minutes. And we actually did this at in our locals the other day. And it was pretty fun. I will say, personally, I found it extremely fun to do, but it is definitely challenging if you have a lot more ships to do. So even 5 ships, like making sure you get your dial set, you know what you want to do. Like if you're the rebels, it doesn't matter, right? Because you can one forward, one bank, you can do whatever dumb thing you want with the rebels. But if you actually want to fly like separatists or something that doesn't have 1 and 2 straight only maneuvers, like, oh my god, is it crazy to think about. We probably don't have to get into how to roll the attack dice. It's inconsequential. The only thing that's different is if you miss your planning phase, essentially you are not assigned a dial at all, and you have to perform a white 2 straight maneuver. So essentially it's like if you miss dial on a stress, it's the same thing. Except for in this case, and this is where I wanted to talk a little bit about, if you are not assigned a dial maneuver, how many cards does that actually affect, right?
Quite a bit, actually.
It's my anti-Django and Rick Ali tech.
Everybody gets 2 minutes. And
I want to do the 2 straight anyways, but now I don't have a dial for them to check for my reveal maneuvers, and they don't get their ability. Cough.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah, it was definitely a ton of fun. Now, the caveat for the Fangs Out that we played at PAX is that they still had the variable timer. So some rounds were 58 minutes, some rounds were 62 minutes. So it just depended on, the round, right? You just knew that there's approximately 60 minutes and time would be called around that point, right? It was definitely a ton of fun. I mean, we started the event at about 11:15, and by the time we're done with round number three, it was about 2:30, and we just ran straight through three rounds with the fourth round about to start right then, and then they announced stuff that we'll get into. But it was definitely a ton of fun. It felt you definitely felt more pressure on thinking about um, what your next moves were going to be ahead of time, because as part of this you were not allowed to touch your dials, like set your dials, like while you're doing all the shooting and stuff like that. You're only ever allowed to touch your dials once you completed the end phase and then set the timer, and then you're able to actually touch your dials and set there. So you couldn't cheat and set your dials ahead of time. So you really had to make quick snap decisions on there, and it really affected how you're going to play. The first round that I played was actually a newer player. His name on Roll Better is Mauro Demo, but he comes from Rhode Island, which is really awesome. He was playing his very first tournament that day. He had brought his list with him to PAX and decided to try it out, and we had a great game. He actually almost won the game if I wasn't able to put in the final 2 damage on his 10 num, which brought me just 3 points ahead of him, because he was controlling the crates really, really well, and he did really well for his first game. And we had a blast playing the game. It was just a ton of fun there. But it's actually a format that I think that should be done more, because I feel like you're able to get more X-Wing in a shorter amount of time, and I feel like you can run a full tournament and still have like the rest of the day to do whatever you want to, and just run like those quick games. I think it's a really good format.
So one of the questions I had is, JJ, were the end scores lower, or because you cut down the planning phase time, did people essentially still get 6 to 7 rounds in a game?
So for the first round, for round number 1, there are definitely a couple of low scores. I know for mine it was 10-7. There were a couple of other games that finished off like around 6 to 7 points on average, because people were still getting used to the format. But once the second and third rounds came in, there were definitely games that already finished by the time the timer went off. I know for me, my last 2 games, my second game came down to the timer, and I won by 1 point. It was 19-18. And we definitely went about 7 rounds, and then my last game, we went over 20 points, and we were close to 5 to 6 rounds at that point. So it still was about the same length as a regular game, because again, you're not spending so much time during the planning phase thinking about it, that you're getting more into to rolling dice and moving ships at that point. And we're still talking about lists that had 5 to 6 ships on each side. So.
All right. So, I mean, it seems that for the most part, it's similar. It's just forcing you to play faster, which I guess we won't. Alex is excluded from every Fangs Out tournament ever. So
You can cut down on the 1 minute, and I'll be totally fine. Easy. 5 ships, no problem.
yeah, Alex moves, bumps everybody's ships, throws his dice, and then goes, "All right, let's go to the next round. Come on."
My fault they continue to joust me.
Yeah, it was it definitely, I think there's only 1 round in out of all the entire tournament where we came close to like the last dial being set with like 3 seconds left on the clock. But beyond that, it's like I don't think I saw anybody around me that actually ran out of time during the planning phase to assign their dials, thankfully.
Well, that's good. Why don't we move on a little bit to kind of what was ran? So I guess, JJ, the story that did you get your store champ invite then? Because I see they only played 3 rounds.
I'm going to start off this story by first off thanking by thanking Andrew Lewinsky and Liberty Squadron for putting on these events. They definitely did a great job in organizing everybody and making sure that the tournament was running very, very smoothly. Thank you so much, guys, for running the event. You guys are great. We started off Fangs Out with the announcement that a store invite was going to be given out because we did have 16 registered players. And we started off game round one with 8 tables set for all the matchups. We had a few players drop pretty much immediately when they started the first round, leaving us with 14 players, but we kept on playing. And then they were told by Luminous Games, who was essentially running, like, who paid for the event to be run at PAX, that they will not be honoring the invite or giving out the invite because they could not verify that 16 players were there to start the game. So at the end of round 3, I was the only 3-0 player. The invite would have been given to me. We were going to start the 4th round. But after the announcement that the invite was no longer going to be given out, everybody collectively decided that we were no longer going to play. So we ended the tournament with just 3 rounds played, which is unfortunate, but there's not much we can do at that point.
So it seems kind of silly that they still just wouldn't have honored it because he had 16 there to begin with, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely disheartening. I'm not gonna lie. That's something that felt like, man, like at an event level like PAX, you think that if people did show up there and people paid to be there and they bought their tickets to be there, that if we were at that number when we started and people dropped because they had to leave for whatever reason, it was the final day, that you would still honor it, right? Because people were there, obviously, and they paid to be there. So, but again, after trying to appeal the decision, they would not budge. So that's where we're at with that, unfortunately.
Do they offer refunds at least?
No, I wish. Yeah, thankfully to play at the event there in PAX, it didn't cost anything. All you needed to do was just basically pay for your ticket there for PAX, and you can play everything else there. So.
All right. Well, it looks like you're running your similar style list, except for this time you put Marquis Steel in there.
Yeah, so I was listening to yet another X-Wing podcast, and I was listening to Andrew Lewinsky talk about the different events that they're going to have. Day 1 of the PAX event, they did have an extended tournament that had a store invite on the line for that as well. So I originally packed my list for extended, thinking that it also was going to be for the main event for the following day. I was too lazy to take out my Empire list that had been sitting there for since I last went to Richmond the previous month, and I just didn't want to take it out of my box. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take it with me just in case somebody needs it. And turns out it was me who needed it, because when I submitted my list at PAX, they're like, that this is a standard tournament, right? Not extended. And I'm like, oh crap. I haven't touched this list in like literal months now at this point, and I guess this is what I'm flying for the tournament. So I ended up playing that for PAX, the standard tournament, and it Fangs Out, and man, it did me well for how I did. Now I did go 2-2 in the main tournament, and I ended up dropping because I really wanted to go play Star Wars Unlimited. But in Fangs Out, it was really good. It did me really, really well. So I'll run down through my list here. So to start off, I have the starter pack Vader. He comes equipped with hate, afterburners, and ion missiles. This is the one that he can spend extra force to perform an additional action after you perform an action. Next up, I have Marek Steel. We'll go Marek Steel later. I had Battle of Yavin Mauler Mythal that has Predator and afterburners. Then we got Marek Steel with Deadeye Shot, Marksmanship, and afterburners. And then I got Lieutenant Laurier with Lone Wolf and Targeting Computer. No sensitive controls on this one. And then to round off the list, Vizier with Seven Sister and Captain Hart to round off the list there. Vizier is just a menace. Definitely played a huge factor in a lot of my games that I played. His using Seven Sister to set up tractors or to jam tokens absolutely helped me decimate a lot of priority targets that I was facing off against. The value of that Vizier ailerons boost into a three bank or three straight to set up blocks to prevent target locks from ordnance carriers and such definitely is a huge boon, especially if I can have a couple of ships in Marek, Mauler, and Vader that can come in, zooming right behind them to set up their own locks and take out the opponents there. Definitely very huge. I got to say, Deadeye shot and marksmanship also was pretty big because I usually have when I do have that bullseye lined up after Mauler and Vader have taken their shots, and I have a couple of face down cards to flip. Being able to use that Deadeye shot to flip over a fuel leak or flip over a structural damage is huge because it just allows Merritt to push in even more crits later on and take out ships. So I was actually able to on my second game, or sorry, on my fourth game in the big tournament, I faced off against a Canaan VCX, and on my second round of engagement, I absolutely just destroyed a Canaan that would not get any reinforces because I kept on jamming him, and being able to wipe out a VCX on the second round of engagement like that was very big. I did ended up losing my Vader and Mauler after that, but still, it was a very big engagement there for that.
Well, awesome. Looks like the next list that's in there is a pretty basic FO list. Except for this one has a blackout with trick shot. Alex, what did KJL run?
Okay, yeah, this is a fun FO list, except for blackout. I don't like this blackout. It's trick shot, sensor scramblers, plasma torpedoes, which we've seen before, but this one also has sensitive controls. Which, oh man, I get it. You get his ability off, but man, you're also I5. It'd be cool if you could double reposition and not get shot at. But if you play it well, you play it well, right? And then you got Whisper Kylo with Malice, Brilliant Evasion, Predator Pattern Analyzer, Mag Pulse Warheads on Malorus. Then you got the Scorch FO Bomber with Feedback Ping, Ion Missiles, and Bomblet Generator. And then Gideon Hask in the Psy Shuttle with Biohack Script Codes, Sensor Buoy Suite, Tactical Officer, and Agent Terex, which is a loadout you see pretty frequently on him. It's a solid support ship there.
Yeah, I managed to play against him for my final round for Fangs Out, and he set up his blackout to go kind of like off center and essentially do a decloak 2 forward into a 5 straight, so that way he can set up a trick shot um, or like an obstructed shot against my enemy squadrons on round 1 with that being able to use Blackout's ability. Unfortunately, he wasn't expecting my Vizier to do a ailerons boost into 3 straight right to where he was going. So he ended up getting tractored right into Vader and Mauler's like shots, and I was able to take him out. But if I didn't have that, I probably would have lost Mauler on round 1 with that blackout. Yeah.
Would he have been able to fix it if he had the auto thrusters ability? Just curious.
I don't think so, because essentially you would have, because the way I set it, well, it depends, because the way I tractored him, I put him within half a base length in front of the obstacle. So he would have had to rotate in order to boost. But if he rotates, he'd take a stress anyway. So I think that would turn off the auto thrusters anyway. So yeah, I don't think so.
Well, he could have been coordinated.
Yeah, well,
But you can't
his
do that here, sensitive.
His
controls.
Captain Hark was placed on the other off center, and by the time I barrel rolled him out, he was already way past the outside of the bubble for a coordinate. So yeah,
Fair enough. I think it's an interesting FO list. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure about the bomber. I get people are bad against bombs. I'm just not a. I think with Gideon and like a sensitive control blackout, you need a little bit more offense in the list. But
Yeah.
they also do
it's
very
still
well,
it's still
right?
good.
So,
I mean, he's
yeah.
he's flown this actually on Nickel City, if I'm not mistaken, and he's done pretty well with it. He's actually done well in other tournaments. We've covered his list before on other tournaments locally for him. But yeah, it can definitely do a lot of work. He just wasn't expecting my ships to be aggressive as well on round one, and just got caught unfortunately by Seven Sister.
All right. Then the last list we're going to cover from the Fangs Out is a rack list, but it's a little bit different. We have rack with Dauntless, Proton Bombs, Agile Gunner, Vader, and Discipline. Then a resurgence of Iden with Elusive and Thread Tracers. Gideon with Shield Upgrade, Predator, Marksmanship. Delmico with Ion Cannon and Evade. And then I don't know how to say this name. Saiyan Marina.
Same Marana, yeah.
Marina? I'm gonna call it Marina. With shield upgrade, jamming beam, because I guess she can, and predator. Wouldn't it be better instead of marksmanship? I'm sorry, not predator. Marksmanship and jamming beam to just be what's that? Well, you put ruthless, but what's the other one? Discipline.
So
no.
the reason being
Rana's
is
crits.
yeah. Her ability is that she can spend a crit in order to deal a damage to that ship, and it ignores shields.
A face down damage card. Yeah.
So yeah, so if you get that and you can manufacture that crit with marksmanship, you're just dealing damage in there, which is really great, especially if you're facing off like against a quick draw. You just basically deal damage through crits and just put them right through the shields, and quick draw can't shoot you back with its ability. It's fantastic, or A wings for that matter.
Or like Von Reg and stuff. Anything with like 2 hull, it's
Yep.
brutal.
All right, so it's a little bit different list. It's 4 ties and rack. I don't think we've seen that as
Rack and
prominent
Inferno
right now.
squad that's interesting. I like that Rack and Inferno Squadron.
Yeah.
Not sure about the discipline on Rack, but whatever. That's super cool. I like that kind of throwback style.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is all for our Fangs Out discussion tonight. I think let's get into Store Champs. Do we do our pattern analyzer segment?
Let's do it.
Welcome to our pattern analyzer segment, where we talk about what's going on at Store Champs in the meta. This weekend, Singapore had a world qualifier with 16 people. So if your Fangs Out couldn't have a Store Champ invite, here we have a world qualifier with 16 people in it, playing to win. I will tell you, the draw that you see is an actual honest to God round 1 draw. It is not a, hey, we're going to make cut draw. It's an honest to God round 1 draw. I had to look it up. I did not believe it myself at all. And I don't know who the winner is, because they never put the last round of top cut in there. They just left it blank. So, the winner is going to have a Republic list. I know that much. Which one? I'm not quite sure. It was kind of cool. There was a Scum top cut list as well, but we're not going to go over it tonight because it's, I don't know. I'm kind of sick of going over the same Scum list, yeah. Over and over again. So I skipped the Scum one, but I did throw a Resistance one in there. But obviously the first list is our Anakin, Oddball, Wolf, Padme, Jag list that we've seen all over the place. So no need to cover too much into that. It is literally an identical list to what we've been seeing running in Republic. But that second list, JJ, what is Tigress running for that second list?
So we got an SOC kickback with comes equipped with Diamond Boron missiles and munitions failsafe. We got a Siege Coruscant Oddball in the ARC 170, the Siege Coruscant Wolf in the ARC 170, Slider in the Clone Z95 with Predator. We got Jag in the ARC 170 as well in the Siege Coruscant version, and then Axe with the Siege Coruscant version with Deadeye Shot and Barrage Rockets to round off that list. So you got a ton of clones that can pass off tokens between each other. I do like having Axe in the list there, specifically with the Barrage Rockets. It makes them another three die gun with 6 hull that can definitely do some work, helping get locks for Jag and passing it around with Oddball and stuff. It has a lot of utility in this list. I like it a lot.
So the only thing I can think of with Slider and Predator is because of the fact that you could do your side slip, right? And if you do a 2 maneuver, you could do a boost for free, or not for free, but as your action. That's white, correct?
Yeah.
So I can see that being kind of like a sneaky, hey, I'm gonna too hard, I'm gonna go to the side, and then I'm gonna kind of boost back, and it kind of like turns you around a little bit, and then you can get a bullseye out of it. I could see it. You don't have any other dedicated anyway, so I don't know if it matters.
I mean, Slider only does the slide on the 2 banks, but yeah, having the 2 bank boost in actually gets you pretty cool situations. A person on Akron in Rust Cup was actually running this exact list. They came in last. The team as a whole, I don't know how the Republic list did. I don't think they chose the Republic list in the round that we played on.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's still cool to see. I mean, 6-ship Republic, 3 of them being arcs is a little bit scary, and then you can pass off evades on the torrents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm sold on SLC kickback though, but is that the one that gets the extra health?
Both of them do.
Well, yeah, they both have 6 health. Yeah, kickback is the one where you can do the barrel roll into a lock and evade, and you just take a strain.
Which would not help your dedicated situation.
True, but
yeah,
you don't have it, so I guess it doesn't matter.
You have an evade lock, which is pretty cool, and diamond boron missiles are nice. And then any of the arcs can pass off a focus for defense. So you have sort of focused evade defense.
Yeah, and that diamond boron is pretty cool. Like, we don't see a lot of that. And I kind of wish we'd see it a little bit more often, but I understand why. It doesn't fit very many ships, so I don't know. It's probably good on that platform over anything else. So, though you could drop down. Is Oddball in? Do they have an SOC variant of Oddball in the V-Wing?
No, just the ARC 170.
Too bad. All right, and the last list is a resistance list. Alex, what is that list?
Okay, so this is a list by Shane Mock. So it has Jess Pava with R2D2 targeting computer out of disrespect. Didn't want to take the jamming beam, which I can respect, but took the targeting computer instead. Got LO with Predator and HLC. Snap with Predator targeting computer because, again, wanted to, and HLC. Then you got Tally with Crackshot Starbird Heroic Plasma Torps, which I don't believe I've seen on Tally before. Occasionally you'll see like Heroic Plasma and like Optics. So that's a kind of a cool, I can try to get some offense in here with Tally. And then you got Kari Kun with Predator and HLC. So you have 3 HLC T70s, and you got Jaspava there, and then Tally is a cool A-Wing. I love Tally. I played a lot of Tally. I still prefer Lulo, but Tally can. It's really annoying going into a Jaspava that has a third defense die out of nowhere and also has R2D2. So I can see how that can get really annoying.
Yeah, it makes for a little bit longer life, right? I don't know. I originally thought Tally was going to be better than Lulu until I put him on the board, and it's like, all right, yeah, that sucks. But originally I had all my investment in Tally. I thought that was going to be the way to go. Because you have enough points, you could run protons if you wanted, right? But
yeah, I don't like the proton torp Tally just because you're just committing to grabbing a lock, and that's all you can do. With heroic, like plasma torps being cheap, you can still get the I5 plasma torps off, when you re-engage or something. And then with optics, heroic optics is super good. I ran Tally a lot. Very early on when Resistance came out in 2.0, I ran like Poe, Bastion, Lulo Tally, and I topped out at an Ohio regional with that when they first came out. It was super, super fun. I love Tally. Also flew with Ray a lot, and that's really frustrating for other people. Just giving Ray extra defense dice.
yeah, different now. Now you don't want to do that with Finn and heroic, right?
I mean, more defense dice is still fine. I can convert that blank.
All right. Now that is our World Open qualifier for today. The next store champ comes from Curio Cavern in Virginia. I think they had 17 or 18 people that played in there. There was a couple other store champs this week. They just didn't release their list. So I have them on the radar if they ever release their list for next week. But as of now, not going to happen. So this one, we had a top cut of 4, as well as the normal store champ kit go. JJ, what did the winner bring, and why is your favorite ship in there?
So we got an appearance of Rack here with Darth Vader, crew, Death Troopers, Dauntless, with title with Agile Gunner, Ruthless, and Electronic Baffle. Juno Eclipse with Pattern Analyzer, Fire Control System, and Ruthless. Marek Steel with Ruthless, Marksmanship, and Afterburners. Tomax with True Grit, Plasma Torpedoes, and Ion Bombs. That's the standard version of Tomax. And then a Black Squadron Ace generic pilot to round off the list. You got a lot of firepower at the I5s being able to go in and you can pick and choose who you want to shoot with. And having that very big base in rack, being able to remove tokens or deal damage easily with Darth Vader, and also preventing your opponent from being able to clear the stress with Death Troopers. You can easily punch in a lot of damage with Tomax and Marek and Juno after Rack gets the shot in there. Also having the Ruthless there to basically feed into the hull of Rack, you can easily modify those shots to make sure that they're you're generating on average about 2.5 to 3 hits constantly with Juno and Marek. So you can definitely like put down some ships, especially ships that have low agility. You can easily shoot through those ships very well. It's a very solid list.
Yeah, and it's interesting we see a Black Squadron here. That way you can have your Juno and your Marquis, but no Vader ship in there using Vader specifically on Rack. I don't know. I don't know like the pattern analyzer, I don't think on Juno. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a choice, but yeah.
You see like Talon roll or something, and then like grab the lock behind them because you're probably not getting shot at right if you do it right. So then you can keep holding on to the lock with FCS.
Yeah, that's true. And you can also link it into a boost and end up double stress if you wanted to.
The good old I have auto thrusters ability and also pattern analyzer. Watch me go.
All right. Alex, what did Swede run?
Swede brought a rebel list. It has Sabine with Beskar. Shocking. And Boy Luke. Mind blowing. But also it had Boudica, Hera, and Magva, which is super cool. So Boudica is pretty close to what you typically see. This one's a little bit different. This one has Beskar, Mando Optics, Marksmanship, and Deadeye Shot. They listened to JJ, I guess, there. You got Hera with Hopeful and Mag Pulse. I'm so happy to see that. That's not just a pure Swarm Tactics Hera. And then you got Magva with Jyn Erso and Leia. Which is, ooh. Anytime you take that focus, you can convert it into an evade. If you already have maybe a lock with Luke or something, or you can coordinate the lock with Luke, or just give it to Hera, right? Like you can do whatever you want. Boudica can take an evade. That's super cool list. I like it. You got a little bit of defense there with Magva, and that just seems kind of like a pain because you're not going to shoot Magva, right? Because Boudica's just going to hit you really hard. So your target priority is all messed up on this list.
Yeah, it messes with it because it's like, do you want Boudica or Hera or Luke first? And if you go after Luke, Luke's gonna hit you hard and then just run away and live. Like, so I don't know. You think jam screws this list up a lot?
Yeah.
You can just jam.
Yeah, if you could get the jam off on Hera, you prevent her from passing off any her tokens off to anybody else to inquire. You reduce that efficiency there. Either that, or if they're like too far away, taking the making sure that you can jam Luke and prevent him from having a target lock to shoot off his proton torpedoes, makes them single modded with just a force, so that reduces his effectiveness in shooting that shot there. So yeah, definitely jam helps reduce the effectiveness of that particular list there, which is probably why they, or even stress for that matter, which is why Death Troopers will probably be very effective against that particular list.
Yeah, the one loss this list had was to the person who won this championship in a game of 10-11. They lost by 1 point, and it's probably a lot to do with like Darth Vader just stripping the green tokens from that list.
Yeah. I like it. It's definitely something different. We probably would see more of it if we didn't have a bunch of Hans running around,
I mean, like, a lot of Heratani lists are pretty solid, but also now that like Rack's becoming a lot more popular, you don't want to see that because he's just gonna take your tokens away and you're not gonna have a Heratani list anymore.
Yep.
All right. The next one we have is from Battleground Sangus. I think that's how you say that name or that word.
Saugus.
Sure. In Massachusetts. They had 16 players, and they had a unique ship in Top Gun. And I'll be honest, at first I thought this was a extended tournament, and I was like, oh, Cornhorn. That's cool. Somebody brought Cornhorn, and I was like, oh, hold on a second there. It is X-Wing Cornhorn, because you couldn't fit all those other ships with him for it. So, also making an appearance is Cold Brutus from Nickel City League, I believe.
Yep. Star Killer. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and him running a very close to home list that I ran, except for my 047 did not have concussion bombs on it, but that's kind of a funny that's kind of a funny middle finger to people, I think. There, but very fun list. That's actually when we first got the points changed. That's almost the exact list I was running. Period. But either which way, the winner is Sam McClane. No reference to John McClane.
John.
Yeah. He brought Cornhorn with R3, Magpulse, and Hopeful. Boy Luke, Juking Keo, and Bodica with Beskar, Mando, Clan, and Marksmanship, and good old Pops Corral. But this is your build your own Pops Corral, baby. Bringing thermal detonators, plasma torpedoes, dorsal turret, and the very fun debris gambit on Pops. So that's hilarious. Like, I guess it works because that ship goes like one forward, one banks, doesn't have to move that much if it doesn't want to, can stay by the obstacles, I guess.
It does like 2 hards and 2 banks, because that's the one that after they do like a white maneuver, you could choose a friendly ship at 0 to 1, and they could do the focus action. So you could like 2 hard around an obstacle with a dorsal turret and just be focus evade the whole time.
That's hilarious. Okay, I think I need to put that in my kit because I think that would be super fun to just, especially if you had an objective right there, right? Could you imagine during an assault, just like being able to fly around that? And if you put 2 in the middle of the board, you could just fly around each of them, whichever way you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like having a reinforced, right? Like just having that free evade token all the time. Like, man, that's good.
Eventually, when you get in the scrum, you only do a 2 hard focus, then you take a lock for the plasma torps. They start following you. You drop thermal detonators on them. Too bad he's 4 points.
Yeah. No, thank
the
God
only
he's
thing.
4 points.
I mean, yes, because free focus actions are silly. But I mean, he's got 16 points of loadout. You can actually do like cool things like that. Man, are thermal detonators enough of a threat, or would you just drop like proton bombs? I guess like taking a strain to be super bad with like Bodica and Luke, right? But crits are cool.
Yeah, and I mean, or concussion bombs, and you go around the rock, you just put concussion bombs out. Nobody will come by you.
Reload.
Oh my God.
That's a fun list.
All right,
You
I like
get
that.
proton
I like
bombs.
this list, but proton bombs are better, I think, than thermals.
You'd have 4 things giving out crits in that list if you have proton bombs. Because you got like the marksmanship Bodica and Magpulse Corin and Boy Luke with the Protorps. Ooh.
Yeah, so do you have Juke Keo just because you have the thermals, like, so you're dropping that strain, and then you have, Magpulse and some of these other ones to strip the tokens? Is that why you have Juking Keo?
Yeah, that or it's like a playstyle thing, because there's pretty solid 3 builds for Keo. I mean, it sucks not having like concussion missiles because you can get a free focus from Pops, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you want munitions, but a focused evaded juking Keo is also a pain. So it'd be cool.
I like the list. It's definitely unique in some of the aspects of it. The next list is also got a ship we haven't seen in ages, and this is like Matt's go-to ship. I swear to God, I still have the ship. We never gave it out at GT, but I still have the Ahsoka ship that Pim painted for me to give away. Actually, I'll grab it real quick. Who wants Joust Bunny's list?
I'll talk about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So this has Bodica, Predator Marksmanship, Electronic Baffle, Beskar, which is not a typical build you'd see for Bodica. But, the Baffle you can use in a pinch. You don't have optics there. Then you got Sabine in the A-Wing with Crackshot and Beskar. You got Wedge in an A-Wing with Marksmanship Lone Wolf. You got Fen Rao in the Fang Fighter with Deadeye Shot, Marksmanship, Plasma Torps, and Beskar. And then you got Ahsoka Tano in the A-Wing with Patience, Brilliant Evasion, Elusive, and Magpulse. Ahsoka Tano is such an underrated piece in Rebels, and if Han wasn't like the default pick, people would complain about Lando, but if Lando wasn't also the default pick, then it'd be Ahsoka. Ahsoka's so good. Just free actions. I'm assuming that's why they have Fenrau there. With the Plasmator Fenrau, just so you can just off rip shoot a double bodied Plasmator with Ahsoka. And this list is fast. You got no one straights, no one banks in this list at all.
Yeah, this list says, hey, let's 5 straight to victory here. We're gonna kill a ship turn 1 or 2. Period. No questions asked. This is like this is me lit. This is a Tanner list right here. I like to fly very fast and throw a lot of red dice, and just hope the game gets over with really quickly.
I'm not gonna say you're throwing a lot of red dice, but man, it's a fast list that can hit pretty hard. I love Ahsoka so much. Wish you could see her more.
It's kind of weird with Wedge and Lone Wolf there. Wedge must be your objective getter or something in that list. You just take an evade. Lone Wolf, you could kind of go on your own outside of boxes. I don't know who carries a box in this list though. Like nobody carries a box in this list.
I would probably send Sabine, right? Because her ability can be defensive, especially if she's in front arc, you know. I think she would be a good candidate to carry a box.
Yeah, like the Sabine and Wedge don't necessarily need to boost every round, you know. You could probably get away with it. Same with Ahsoka, maybe.
I don't know. I like this list too, actually. Actually, I own all the ships for this too, so I own plenty of frickin' A1s. All right, JJ, what did Cold Brutus run?
Well, we got a CIS list doing very well at 3-1. Got Zam Wessel with the Slave 1 title, Contraband Cybernetics, Notorious, and Count Dooku. Dirge with the titles Xanadu Blood, Seismic Charges, Marksmanship, and Sync Laser Cannons. Then we got General Grievous with Soulless 1, Impervium Plating, Shield Upgrade, and Marksmanship. And then DGS 047 in the HMP with the Stabilizers, Concussion Bombs, and Energy Shell Charges to round off the list. I gotta say the DGS 047 is a really solid objective grabbing piece, especially with those side slips. You can definitely get in and out of tight spots with those side slips if you set it up correctly there. And then the rest of your opponent has to worry about everybody else. You almost don't want to engage Zam because not only is she going to potentially shoot you back, you're also going to get strained with Notorious on there. And then Count Dooku to help either generate a crit on offense or potentially force you to roll a blank on offense or defense. That Zam can definitely do a lot of work there. And then a Dirge being that reliable sync laser cannon targeting person at I5 can also do a lot of work there for this list. So very well done.
All right, let's move on to the last store champ we have tonight in Illinois, Spellbound. If you missed it, 312 streamed it. You can go back and catch the stream on their Twitch if you're a subscriber. I don't know if anyone watched this. I was traveling back, so I missed most of them. But definitely a very resistance heavy tournament here. Yeah, so and then Keel's got your favorite upgrade, Alex. I don't know. So looks like Kayla won the tournament here. Alex, what did Kayla run? And why is Keo and Prockets your favorite?
So this is a very typical Revelis AC. It is the chopper engine upgrade, Perceptive Bistan Han. You got boy Luke, Sabine with Beskar. You got boy Holockend. And then you got Keo with Prockets, which I don't like. without some sort of like I5 Lando kind of shenanigans or a higher initiative coordinator or something to line them up. I love Prockets. And like if you do it well, you can get it off during the game, especially if you're like bumping a lot. But this list doesn't really set itself up to bump a lot of ships. So, but there's a lot of medium bases out there and large bases now, so you might be able to get that Procket off. But it's just a solid list. Josh ran almost exactly the same list for Rust Cup. He just switched out. He likes his Lone Wolf Concussion Kyo. And annoyingly, he kills everything with the dorsal turret on Halllock, and it's really frustrating. He's just like, I'm still target locking, focusing. I'm just not shooting the advanced proton torpedo. I'm just gonna shoot you with 3-die side arc and have double mods, and then kill my Snap Wexley obstructed at range 1 in 1 round. Good times.
With a dorsal turret?
Yep, I got shot once by Han and then once by Halllockend, and then Snap died. Because it was range 3 obstructed from Han and range 1 obstructed from the dorsal turret.
Wow.
Does anybody ever get Boy Hull's ability off, like, ever to reroll? Like, do you ever reload your APTs?
Oh, Josh does it all the time. He'll approach at like range 3,
Mhm.
and he'll just target lock focus and then use his ability on the round because he's outside range 2. So he just reloads the droid and then comes in with the APT.
Oh, that's right, because it's got a droid on it. That's what you're using.
That's a good chunk of that, depending. If you shot the APT, you reload the APT. If you didn't, you reload the astromech. So it's actually pretty cool. Just approaching at range 3 and just taking focus lock.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next list. We have a Poe list and a Yeager list. Like, look at that. Oh my God. We have Poe and Yeager in the same list. We have Poe with Trick Shot, Lone Wolf, Chewbacca. Oh, Chewbacca. We have Chewbacca Crew, Ray Gunner, Engine Upgrade, and Ray's Millennium Falcon. I'm confused again why we have Chewbacca. Why do people like Chewbacca Crew?
Chewbacca is the charges for
the crit,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the best Chewbacca Crew by far. If that makes you feel any better.
But
you see this Poe Falcon occasionally. Like, that's a common build, and it's just kind of a free mod. That way you can like boost on your turn and then have Ray for a plank and Chewbacca if you get a focus result. And it's only 4 points. It's not like it's super bad. That's not my preferred Poe loadout.
It just feels like there's other things you can do with Poe.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Winmore-y, but like that, like if you're, getting obstructed shot with Poe and you have Ray and Chewbacca, that's still like that. You're getting hit and you Lone Wolf. Like, it can output a lot of damage. Especially if you hang back like the T-70s and like BB-8 and all that kind of stuff.
Fair enough. Then you have Ello with Heroic, Predator, Fair's Fear Paint, BB-8 with APT again, and Han Solo Crew. Can we just have A and G just ban that card so that we don't have to like read that card
off?
off?
The tournament's easier.
I just don't want to read that card. Then we have Temin with Heroic, Fair's Fear Paint, and R6D8. And Yeager with Heroic, Marksmanship, M9G8, and Targeting Computer. And of course, the title there. Pretty solid list. I'm not, I guess I could see the Trick Shot Poe piece of it, but the Engine Upgrade and Chewbacca Crew, I don't know. Just feels like there's other things you could be putting in there.
Who put that Engine Upgrade there? You stapled that before any other piece on that Poe.
Yeah, just so that you can boost around and not have to deal with it.
Yeah, like that is the most important upgrade on Falcon Poe. For sure.
And I guess for
so you get barrel roll boost with that.
For M9G8, you're probably targeting Poe, right? So that way he can have 2 rerolls, I'm assuming.
You could. I mean, Ello's not a bad target even with Predator. Yeah, M9G8 actually seems a little excessive in this list. But when I was running M9G8, yeah, I would target lock. Well, I don't have Lulo in this list, right? So my backup would be Poe, and just let him do stuff. You can do some dirty things.
Awesome. And the last list to cover tonight, JJ, is excuse me, a scum list with Lee's in it again.
Yeah, so we got Fen Rao here in the Fang Fighter with Fearless, Beskar Reinforced Plating, and Burnout Thrusters. We got the Mando showing up with the Child and Mandalorian Optics, probably using Contraband as the hidden. Actually, didn't put the
Post-transponder
title on
does.
there.
I'm
They-
sure it's got the title, right? Like, there's no reason for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got Lee Mackay in the Y Wing with concussion bombs and Magpulse warheads, and then Arlise Hadrassian with concussion bombs, cluster missiles, and dorsal turret. Bosk in the Z95 with a marksmanship and dead bench switch to round off the list there. Solid list there. I think Mando making a little bit of a comeback. We're seeing Mando appear a little bit more often there. Definitely a solid piece with the Child and Mando optics. Also, if you are running Mandalorian, please don't forget the title. You need that title so that we can have Contraband. and yeah, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just a solid list there for Scum.
All right. Well, that is all of our store champ list for tonight. We don't have any more, I don't think, any more store champs. So I guess we move on to, I don't know, what do we have left, folks?
The Battle over Endor cards.
Oh, do we? We have Battle over Endor? What did I call it? I think I called it something else. What did I call it earlier? Battle of Endor. That's what I called it.
Endor. Yeah, Battle of Endor.
Well, that sounds better. Nobody wants to have a battle over Endor because we know that wasn't the only place the battle took place, for Christ's sake.
I mean, depending on how far out you want to go, everything's Battle over Endor.
There you go. See, exactly. You know,
from a certain point of view, you know.
All right, so let's go over what we have here. There was some leaks, so I'm going to preface this a little bit, folks. Nobody has officially from AMG confirmed that these are official. Outside of some of the art that looks like it's not very clean, to me, these look pretty official. And they have some crazy, weird stuff on them, so that we have never seen before. So I don't know, JJ, Alex, nobody that I know of confirmed these officially, correct?
Yeah, correct. It's all unofficial for this for the time being. However, I mean, if it is official, man, it's getting me excited for this pack. Can't wait to see when this will be coming out.
All right, so do we all feel? So let's take a vote. Alex, do you feel comfortable that these are pretty official?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of effort if you wanted to like Photoshop all of these together. Not saying that it can't be done, but it's a lot of effort.
All right,
and
JJ.
They're off the wall abilities too, so like it's not like someone is just like, yeah, let me just type a bunch of random bullshit into this. It seems like, oh, this is actually kind of cool design space.
Yeah, I think that these are. I'm gonna say that they are official, mainly because when you start comparing some of the abilities here to what we've seen for what was already spoiled during last Adepticon with the Wedge Pilot and the other TIE Defender, Captain Yor, I believe, they feel about the same in terms of like some of the keywords that they've used on the cards there. So it does feel like it's official, or at least these are copies of the official, I would say.
All right, well, that settles it. We will cover them then, because I don't think anybody would fake putting sensitive controls on standard loadout cards. So well, there we go. That's probably really the only indicator you need. So the first one we have here is an I-1 interceptor, because that's what we need more of, is more I-1s, called Sapphire 2. I don't know. Does anybody know who Sapphire 2 is? Is this like a pilot we should know from something?
It's some generic. It's a unique generic pilot.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be like Sapphire Squadron, right, or something. So that just could just be the squadron and then the number,
Yeah,
kind of like Luke Red 4, right?
exactly. Yeah.
And they already use Onyx, so maybe they just really love gemstones.
Yeah, that's true. They're not gonna go with a generic blue, right?
Well, Blue Squadron is taken by Rebels, copyright infringement. You gotta go with Sapphire.
Well, officially, by the way, a Sapphire 2 is a pocket-size, all-in-one mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. Just so you know. So
I saw that.
this is version 2. So this is a hotspot TIE interceptor, is what this is. So I will tell you out of the gate, outside of the sensitive controls piece, like that while you defend piece, if you are focused, roll additional defense die, sounds amazing. But you're at I1. How, like, you're gonna roll it one, you're gonna get it one time, and then you're gonna have to spend it because you're an I1. Everyone's gonna shoot you unless you somehow keep this ship away from everybody else and then like dive in at the end.
Or it's like the world's best objective getter.
It could be. I mean, it's again like, so that piece right there is actually pretty cool. That ability is amazing. Like, I like that ability. Notice they do not have another hull or another shield upgrade. So we should definitely note that, because this could come in at 3 points, possibly, because it's an I1. They also have a new ability called No Escape. While you perform a primary attack, if there are more friendly ships than other enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of the defender, you may re-roll one of your blank results. That's pretty good too. If you live long enough to shoot, that's really good. Then you have something called Reckless on top of that, right? While you perform a red boost or barrel roll, you may use the 1 hard in template instead. So when I perform a barrel roll, I can now use a 1 hard template to barrel roll. Okay,
Yes.
so I don't know if Reckless is going to show up anywhere else. That ability is pretty good. Now, it does say if you have to roll an attack die afterwards, and on a hit or a crit, you gain a stress token. So you could end up double stressed, right? Which would not be fun. But that's pretty bonkers, doing a 1 hard barrel roll. Like, JJ, your goal is to set up what this can look like on TTS next week, because that's crazy if you get it off correctly. You're still 50-50 to have stress, though.
It's not like there's a direction on those 1 hards, right? So you can 1 hard barrel roll backwards.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Actually, K turn, -1 K turn, basically. Like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
Then they have prime thrusters on there. So while you have 2 or less stress tokens, you could perform barrel roll and stress actions, right? So here's the deal. During the system phase, you may perform the red boost or barrel roll. You can get double stress, perform a blue maneuver, remove 1 of the stress, and next turn still frickin' do the same thing again, over and over and over again. So this ship, and maybe this is the new ace. Maybe this I1 is the new ace, baby. I don't know. But like, I would like to play with this ship on TTS, JJ, next week, I think. And I wish this was not an I1. I guess it's a good thing. Thank God it is an I1. But I mean, can you imagine the blocking positions you could put yourself in?
Yeah.
For other ships, right?
Honestly, if I'm including this ship in my list for Empire, the number 1 ship I want this to be accompanied with is Commandant Goron and Nash. So that way Goron can remove the stress off of the ship and then provide it with a token if he needs to. And then Nash ensures that even if he does get one-shotted off the board, that Sapphire 2 still gets a shot off at the end of that initiative. So you're not going to get initiative kills without getting shot. So I think those are 2 very good ships that this can form a part of, the beginnings of a really good interceptor list.
Now we have
I'm sorry. If you want pure silly positioning shenanigans, you can run a ship with Sienna Ree. So when he booster barrel rolls, you can rotate 90 degrees with the stress.
I didn't think about that. That
Oh my
seems.
gosh. I did not think of that. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Just pick them up and put them wherever you want.
Then it also has targeting matrix. While attacking, you could spend one focus result at the end of the neutralize step. If you do, the attack is resolved. The defender then gains a strain token. On an I-1, I don't think this really matters that much outside of you're going to force somebody to do blue maneuvers later on.
I mean, you can always swarm tactics and get them up higher, right? So that way you can get the strain off at a higher initiative.
Can Sienna Ree carry swarm tactics? I'm just thinking out box already. Let's go. We can run.
Sienna Ree's the crew. The crew Sienna Ree.
Oh.
People.
So, we can run an interceptor and rack list. That's what I'm hearing, baby.
Swarm tactics rack.
Ugh. Okay. All right. Anybody else? What like this ship, outside of it being an I-1, seems pretty bonkers. I give this 3 points. I think they're going to give us this as an aggressive. This is a replacement for Lurir right here. This is good for objectives.
Yeah. It's definitely good for objectives. I definitely think that at 3 points, this is fair because it's at only 3 health. It's an I-1, and it does have great abilities, but at the end of the day, unless you have a way to mitigate the initiative on it, you're basically have to get worried about taken down by vultures. so yeah.
I like the concept of just like 90-degree turning into everything, but you're a human pilot. Because you can just like barrel roll 90 degrees, 4 straight, clear the stress, and then boost. And if you don't clear the stress, you can still boost. So like just the ability to position yourself in various places is going to be like so hard to like pin down.
Yeah, this ship's just going to walk around the board like sideways.
I feel like this would be a very like boom around everywhere ship and not like engaging a lot ship.
All right. The next one we have does not have Reckless on it, which I'm very sad about, because if I had Reckless on the Soon's Here Fell, I would be ecstatic. So JJ and I had a little bit of a debate, I think, on the Soon's Here. I think the Soon's Here is amazing. I will say, yes, you aren't getting your after position maneuvers. But I mean, look at Anakin, for Christ's sake. Like, Anakin is pretty insane at an I6 4 force. Maybe they'll give this a 3-point Soon's Fell. Do we get a 3-point Soon's Fell? I'm just kidding.
So many people are saying, "Oh yeah, this is a 3-point Soon's Here." No, it's still an I6.
So's Anakin, and Anakin's 4 points. And Anakin has 3 force tokens, JJ. What does this have?
I'm saying this is a 4-point Soon's Here by far. But before we get into the debate points, let's go over the card itself. There.
All right.
Let's go over the card. So, so we got Soon's Here Fell. He's an I6 here. He comes in with just 3 hull on this one. He has 2 charges, non-recurring. So his ability is, after you perform an attack, you may spend a charge and gaining the fleet token to boost or barrel roll. And he comes equipped with sensitive controls, which during the system phase, you can perform a red barrel roll or boost action for it. Now, for his equipment, he comes with Apex Predator, which reads, while you perform a primary attack, if the defender initiative is lower than yours, you may reroll 1 attack die. Then he also comes with No Escape. While you perform a primary attack, if there are more friendly ships than other enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of the defender, you may reroll 1 of your blank results. And then Blank Signature. While defending, if you are not locked by the attacker, you may spend 1 charge to change 1 focus result into an evade result. And that's a recurring charge as well. And then lastly, Feedback Emitter, which is just 1 charge, non-recurring. After an object that acquires a lock on you, you may spend 1 charge to jam that object, ignoring range restrictions. this upgrade's charge cannot be recovered. So essentially, he has a lot of the benefits of like attacking at rerolling. He definitely wants to prioritize engaging lower initiative ships. So you got all those I-5s that are out there, like Luke, for instance. He wants to take on those ships and wants to like beat them down early on with Initiative 6. Being able to get those rerolls with Apex Predator and No Escape, and then being able to reposition with his ability to hopefully evade a shot coming back at Soontir Fel.
Yeah, it's like they gave him Lone Wolf for
without
free.
without the negative drawback.
Yeah.
1.0 Predator, baby.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
It is worth noting that his ability, that doesn't say action, the booster barrel roll.
Yep.
So you can.
Oh, I did not notice that. Oh,
stressed or whatever.
Oh,
presumably also double barrel roll if need be, right? It's not an action. It's like Anakin, Kid Anakin can do it, right? So presumably it's the same
but
thing.
The wording on Anakin N1 specifically states that this does not count as a barrel roll. So I'm not sure. I don't know if that the same logic would apply.
You can still do it if you're carrying a crate.
That's true.
Because it's not an action. Yeah.
Yep. Also, feedback emitter is a May, so it is not like false transponder codes.
It's amazing.
And man, the first time you'd be locked, you could just feedback emitter someone and then have blank signature active. This is a super, super cool ship. I like it a lot. Absolutely cannot be 3 points.
No, it can't. That's just a joke.
I feel like it would also be really good at 4. Like it might be 5, and I'd be fine with it.
I mean, I think this is definitely a solid 4-point ship. If they really wanted to be aggressive with it, no way this is going to come in at 3 points at all. No, sir.
And if this is 4 points, you just have this Soontir and Rack, standard loadout Tomac, standard loadout Deathfire. Like you just swap Feroff for Soontir if this is 4 points in that Rack list.
Yep.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah. This will replace my Merrick Steel in my list. Easy.
4 points might be a little bit too aggressive.
I don't know, but I do agree with you. The fact that you twice per game you can shoot somebody and then run away. I mean, and the best part is if you are first player, it's like a huge benefit in this aspect, right? Like, I think they need to clarify if we're allowed to double boost or double barrel roll. Because I mean, if that's the case, that's even like, oh my god, like holy shit. I'm gonna barrel roll to begin with, 3 bank in, shoot you before you shoot me. I'm gonna barrel roll a second time to get out of your arc. Okay.
I mean, you really have to approach people at like 45-degree angles in order to actually properly get out of people's arcs. Because if you're like in range 2, you're not getting out of someone's arc with the booster barrel roll, unless you're really coming at a steep angle. So, but also like on Kid Anakin, it does say in parentheses this is not an action, but like they got rid of a lot of those like redundant parenthesis things. So I don't know.
That's true.
So it'd be funny. Never know.
Yeah,
they break rules all the time. So
just too bad we can't ask. We can't put this in the FAQ forums as of yet, so we can get a clear ruling on this.
So I'm going to assume that every Imperial has the no escape ability, and then spoilers: every Rebel's probably going to have it's a trap ability, because we've seen those both on Captain Yor and Wedge. So that's kind of a cool way to just tie all of it together.
Yeah.
All right. The next ship is your favorite, Alex. Tell us about Lando.
I have to make another template for all dark cards because it has 5 upgrades on it. It's killing me. So the stats for the Falcon's the same. He has 2 non-recurring charges. And his ability is at the start of the activation phase, you can spend 1 charge. If you do, choose an initiative value from 1 to 6, and you activate that initiative phase. So you have to fly Gargor in order to block him if he chooses 1. Because he can't choose 0. Just remember that. Can't engage at 0. And then the chassis ability is high stakes. After you perform a red action, you may roll an attack die on a hit crit and remove 1 stress. And that is super relevant because he's got like 6 actions down there. He still has the evade. He's got the red boost, and he has a red coordinate that's linked into a red focus, which is awesome. So like the 50-50, after you coordinate the 50-50 chance to remove the stress, you can then link it into a focus action. You could use the ability then, see if you can remove stress. But he still has 9 nub, so he's got plenty of blues. 9 nub's still the same ability, decreasing the difficulty of his banks. He has Ace in a Hole. That is 2 charges, presumably non-reoccurring. It's a little bit cut off there. I doubt that it's reoccurring. So at the start of the engagement phase, you can spend 1 charge, gain a jam token, and perform a roll action, which is insane. Especially if you get like blocked, you just barrel roll off someone who's you're no longer in 0 now. You're just shooting 4 dice at them.
Yeah, and think about it. If you could barrel roll to the front, right? So you could barrel all the way to the front, and you still get your range 1. You can possibly get it out of, like, if you have 2 ships shooting at you, one of them might not be in arc anymore. Stupid.
And you'll get benefits from that orange jam token that we'll get to. It's a trap, so that's kind of like the inverse of the Empire one. It's while defending if there are more other friendly ships than enemy ships at 0 to 1. You may reroll 1 of your blank results. He has Aaron Kraken as well, so you can't take him in the Z95 if you take this Lando. That'll also be really silly. But this is a gunner position. After you defend, if the attack hit you, you can gain a deplete to perform a bonus primary attack against the attacker. So yeah, you're taking a -1 to your attack dice. But if you did something like get blocked, you can barrel roll off of them, and now you're shooting with 4 dice. And if they hit you back, you shoot them with 3 dice. And then the very important part, the Millennium Falcon title. While attacking or defending, if you have a non-lock red or orange token, you may reroll 1 die, which works really well with the jam, or if you have a stress from coordinating, or a stress from coordinating and then focusing, or you boosted, you get to reroll a die, attacking and defending. It's bonkers. This Lando is so silly. I love it.
So
There's
I would absolutely have to fly this with Boudica, because you essentially, if you do shoot at Lando, you can do the Iron Kraken shot and then also do the Boudica Revenge shot as well.
I will absolutely fly this with the next Rebel pilot that we reveal. Because those two just seem like a really solid core.
All right. So given the power level of this so far for what we read, what do you guys think in terms of points?
God, I hope it's not 7.
It is. It's going to be 7. They're going to fuck with us on a Han. What they're going to do is they're going to say, this is what I feel AMG wants to do, is they're going to go, all right, we got enough standard loadout pilots. We're going to start increasing the cost to build your own stuff and give you standard loadout. So Han's going to build your own Han's going to go up to 8. They're going to leave standard loadout at 7. They're going to leave this at 7. They're going to put Lando at 8. Leia, maybe they'll leave Leia at 7 because Leia's not making any sort of an impact ever right now.
Hey, just because things aren't making an impact doesn't mean they'll bump up the points.
True. But if they don't bump up Leia and they leave, whatever, who cares about Leia at this point? Because if they leave her at 7, then there is this does have some competition, I think, with Leia. But like, I don't know, because we don't know what else is coming in the pack. There could be a bunch of other stuff that they're just like, here you go, Merry Christmas. and you no longer want to build your own stuff. But to me, that's my feel is this is going to come in at 7. A, in an effort to sell the pack, and B, in an effort to say, hey, we could bump Han up at this point and let you play standard loadout. Because even standard loadout Han isn't horrible. This is better, though, in my opinion. This is so much better than standard loadout Han is. But now you would have more options, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Although I got to say that if they don't touch Han, right, and they leave him as is, or what he has right now with Baston, Perceptive Copilot, you can essentially have 2 double tapping Falcons with 6 points of ships that you can fill in for the rest of the list.
Yeah, Boudica and Sabine.
Boudica and Sabine. Yep. Gosh, that's crazy.
3 double tapping ships in 1 list.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, this Lando seems really, really good. And worst comes to worst, if you really need to not be destroyed, if you want to not be blocked, you can engage at whatever initiative values, like 1 below your opponents for activation. Not engagement, I guess, but activation. Or if you really need arc dodge things, you can just engage at a 6. Just the versatility of that is crazy.
Yeah, I like that
everything else.
Like, it's funny because AMG banned look at other people's dials, and then they give us abilities like that. Like, well, you no longer can look at their dial, but you can decide what initiative you want to apply it this round. So it's essentially the same thing, but better, I guess. Like, it's better because it's only twice a game.
Better than dial peaking.
It's better because it's only twice a game. There you go. It's better for the game. That's what I mean. Not that it's better card.
Dial peaking should never come back. That was so busted. Oh man, my boy.
Now we got Tycho. That's the next spoiler we have, and it's a trap. It's a trap, Tycho. But this is pretty good Tycho too, actually. And I like it because it's a Procket Tycho. Like, they just said, here you go. We know you want to run all these other dumb things, but we're going to give you Procket Tycho. And they gave Tycho a free shield upgrade too. Like, they said, here's an A-Wing with 5 health, right? And, like, if this comes in, what is Tycho now? 4 points?
Yep.
If this comes in at 4 points, do you even run? I guess we should go over the card first, but I don't know if you even run build your own Tycho, because this one's pretty good.
Any other A-Wings other than Ahsoka?
So here's Tycho. So Tycho comes with vector cannons, which I know you hate, Alex, but that is stapled on this A-Wing. His ability is while you are disarmed, you can still perform missile attacks. When you perform a missile attack, you roll a maximum of 4 dice.
Well disarmed. When you perform
a
missile well disarmed, you only roll 4.
Now, here's the best part. This is okay. This right here is, to me, what makes this insane. You have a Procket, which is a range 1 to 2. You have pre-position with vector cannons, right? So during the system phase, you can either boost or rotate, whatever floats your boat. You're probably only boosting. So no barrel roll, but you can do that, do a blue maneuver, get a focus, and then reload, right? And then you reload with your disarm, with your damn focus, and then you can still shoot your Procket. So what is the ship that I complained about that did the star oh god, what is the name of that stupid the Alpha Star Class ship that does this? What is the name, JJ?
Both of them?
The Starwing.
Starwing.
Yeah, both Karsavi and Vendor do it.
Yeah, but Vendor's stupid. But yes, so like the only downside is you can't just 1-4 and do this, right? Like with him with the Starwing, it's a little bit easier, I think, to get off. But that's crazy. So you can boost, focus, reload if you want.
Well, you're not boosting the next turn after that, but
no, you're not. No. It also has a boost into evade. So if you use your vector cannon to rotate or whatever, you could boost evade if you wanted. Other than that, it has all the same standard things. It's a trap, but then it has a native juke. Like so they go here's Tycho. We're gonna give you a free shield upgrade. We're gonna give you prockets, and we're gonna give you juke. So the shield upgrade is 8 points, prockets is 8 points, and juke is what? 7. So they gave this Tycho 8, 8, and 7. Huh?
23 points.
Yeah, 23 points. Before any of the other upgrades. Then you get something called Chafe Particles. So while defending, you may spend one of your eyeball results at the end of the neutralized step phase to remove a red or orange token. So you can boost, focus, disarm, get your procket back, shoot your procket, and then as long as somebody shoots at you, you can just say, I don't want a shield anymore. Or I don't want my focus result. I'm going to get rid of my stress token and do it all over again every turn. Now you're only shooting a 4-die procket, but that's better than a 2-die shot, right? Like this is insane. This card makes me feel this is like BS. Like somebody made this card, right? This is when we do our card reveals, this is a JJ card right here. This is JJ going,
No,
I'm going to
it's
give this.
not.
Yes, it is.
No,
when you
it's
do
not,
your
man.
build your own cards, sometimes you just go off the Alex, back me up on this. Does he not have crazy build your own cards sometime where you're like, no, this is stupid?
I think everyone has crazy build their own cards, and that's why they're not board game designers.
But this feels crazy. Like this Tycho has to be 5 points, right? Like it has to be.
I think it has to be 5, mainly because the other factor for Rebels is you have ships like the U-wing pilot that can 2 tubes that can pass over a focus token to Tycho, and then Tycho can boost into a red evade to have a juking proton rocket attack on you. Or you have Hera that can attack and then pass over a focus token over to Tycho and do that. Or you have Pops that can give out a focus token to Tycho. There's so many ways to give Tycho a focus token that doesn't require him to use his action that just really enables his ability. On the reverse side, there's also Jyn Erso crew that can change tokens into evades as well when they're being passed. So that way you can give Tycho that juke later on if he's already focused and reloaded. So there's just so many ways for Tycho to take advantage of that ability. So I think this is definitely has to be a 5-point ship because he essentially is pretty much almost every other turn going to be shooting off that proton rocket.
For like the Hera interaction specifically, you absolutely take the evade token with Hera, and you just take the focus with Tycho because the focus allows him to shoot the prockets, and then as you're shooting the prockets, then you pass over the evade.
That's right.
They didn't roll their dice yet, and then you can juke them off of that.
Yep.
Okay, is there a world where this is 4 points? Like a sane world?
I don't know, man. I mean, we've seen crazy things done before, man, at 4 points, namely the ARC 170s. So, I mean...
You can use the ARC 170s as an example of 4-point ships when we have a bazillion T70s.
That's true.
7-point Han. I mean,
yep.
5-point
7-point Poe.
Yeah.
I don't know. This feels like a fake card, personally. Like, this is like a wet dream if this is 4 points, you know? Like, you get, oh my God, I don't know. But yeah,
I think you're overrating it a little bit.
Maybe.
Because it's still a focus.
It's just susceptible to
it's like shooting at range 1 with a T70, right? You're not going to hit every 4 dice every single round. Like,
yeah,
it's
I
like
guess
shooting range 1 and with a 3-die gun with a focus. It's not like it's super insane, and you have to set up the juke things. And they still have to be in the bullseye for proton rockets, which is not hard to do at range 1, but it's hard to keep getting range 1 when you can't do your 1 maneuvers or 1 hard. Like you're doing a blue maneuver, right, to clear the stress, and that's kind of hard to maintain like a bullseye when you have to 2 bank every turn.
Yeah,
I don't know. This feels like a really good card, though. Like, just off the cuff, feels like this is going to get a lot of play.
Also, it's worth noting that like chaff particles, the focus result is at the end of the neutralize steps. So things that mess with focus results, like Django, would be able to change the focus to a blank, so you wouldn't be able to use the chaff particles. It's not like while you're it's after the neutralize, so they can still mod your dice first.
Because there's so many Django's running around here.
Just don't Lumi him.
All right, let's keep moving. We're gonna be here all
just
night.
Don't juke him because it's the vendings. Yeah, just don't juke him.
All right. The last pilot we have is Colonel Jendon in a TIE Defender. I think JJ and I debated this a little bit too. JJ, what is this TIE Defender?
So let's break this one down, because this one threw me in for a loop too. So we got an I-6 Colonel Jendon. Last time we saw Colonel Jendon, he was flying a Lambda shuttle, and I think he was Initiative 4, if I'm not mistaken. But apparently he got really better at flying once he got into the TIE Defender.
It's because of Thrawn.
So he has while you defend, if you are not shielded, you may change one of your blank results into a focus results. And then he has the chassis ability Chiss Engineering. While you execute a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, you may perform a target lock action. While attacking, if you're not stressed, you may spend one shield to apply the range 1 bonus. So he comes equipped with no escape, which we've seen before in the TIE Interceptor. While you perform a primary attack, if there are more friendly ships than your other enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of the defender, you may reroll one of your blank results. Then you have Push the Limits, which is an upgrade we haven't seen since 1.0. And it reads, after you fully execute a red maneuver or perform a red action, which we'll get to in a second, if you are not strained, you may gain 1 strain token to remove the stress token. And then it comes equipped with proton cannons. And then the last upgrade is computer-assisted handling, which reads, after you fully execute a maneuver, you may spend 1 charge, non-recurring, to perform a boost or barrel roll action to round off that list there. This is a bonkers TIE Defender, mainly because not only does it have proton cannons on it, it has a evade into red barrel roll action if you want to do that, or you could just get the free barrel roll or boost action from computer assisted handling and still get a token. And then if you're shielded, you can spend a shield to apply the range 1 bonus on a proton cannon attack, probably from range 3 or 2, and probably shoot a double modded proton cannon, because you're going to likely have that target lock, and you're going to be focused, and you're probably going to be double repositioned with everything that's on here. A 5-die proton cannon shot with this TIE Defender. It is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, just do a 4K and get a double modded 5-die proton cannon shot.
Yeah. Just nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, we saw computer-assisted handling on Captain Yor as well in the Defender. Yes. So presumably, if there are more Defenders, that'd probably be on there. They all have the Chiss Engineering kind of thing. It is worth noting that both Jendon and Yor also have the evade link into a roll.
Yes.
So you can use Push the Limit to get a strain instead of the stress. You can do 1 hards and dump the stress instead of strain, or get the strain instead of the stress, and then still get an action. You can do it off like the 2K, that Defenders have. Bunch of really cool things that you can do with that.
So at least Push the Limit has the verbiage in there if you are not strained. Like, at least it's in there, so you can't just like stack strain on your ship, because that would be really broken for this chassis, in my opinion. But okay, so this is the one of the debates, right? Is you could spend a shield to apply a range 1 bonus, but can you do that on a proton cannon that cannot shoot at range 1? Like, there has to be a ruling on that.
It doesn't have the missile icon. Cannons are subject to range bonuses, right? You get an extra 1 at range 1 with like a ion cannon.
They can if they could shoot range 1. This cannot shoot range 1.
Right, but they also get the bonuses on defense when they're shooting range 3. which you don't
Yeah,
get if it was missile icon.
And the other part of it too is that the wording on it for just engineering, it says while attacking and not while performing a primary attack. So that does leave it open to include the proton cannons to be a part of this particular for the range one bonus to be eligible for that.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So every other turn, you can literally just throw 5 proton dice.
Yeah, absolutely. Now
at I6.
The way these TIE defenders are coming up, these are definitely a lot more aggressive TIE defenders, not necessarily defensive, right? Because they don't have the ability to get free evades anymore. So that means that they are subject to their green dice being like down, right? Particularly, when you combine it with push the limit, if they end up taking a strain down, it's a two defensive die. It's still 7 health, 4 shields, 3 hull, and if it's aggressive and using Chiss Engineering's ability to spend the shields, it's self-damaging itself there. So it can get burned down a lot easier than the other TIE defenders that we've seen. So this definitely changes the way you would fly a TIE defender, I think. Because the older styles, you can tank a little bit more. It can take multiple shots. With this one here, I wouldn't be confident sending it into a scrum where it's going to be facing off against 3 or 4 different attackers at the same time and expect it to survive. It's definitely really good, especially at I6, being able to get off that proton cannons, that big shot that could potentially kill a ship. But I don't see this lasting very long in a scrum if it's facing off against multiple attackers. That being said, do you think this will come in at 7 points, or is this something that should be at 8?
No.
8
at
points,
8
at least.
Yeah. Nah, I don't think it'll come in at 8 at all.
Yeah, do you think that Daiko's going to be a 5? Or do you
Do
think
I?
Come in at 7?
This will come in at 7. Yeah.
Gross. I don't think that will come in at 7.
Yeah, I mean,
either 8 or 9 points.
Okay, but are you going to would you run this over rack?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I6, and you're shooting potentially 5 red dice with a guaranteed conversion on there.
With a super mobile ship that's also good at objectives.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I think it's a 7-point ship.
You want a 4K, get a free lock, and hit the button on scramble?
Do I want it?
You have computer assisted handling, so after you do a 5 straight, you can then bank boost and then also hit the button on scramble?
That's only once a game.
Oh, okay.
Still, I mean...
Okay, is this better than Lando?
Probably.
Yeah, I6.
No, it's not. It's not better than Lando. You said earlier Lando's a 7. This can't be an 8.
I would prefer if Lando was an 8. You're the one that said I'm at a 7.
All right, but you agreed with me.
No, I didn't say anything.
All right. Well, JJ, do you have a Giants hat? Maybe we can make a bet that Alex has to wear a Giants hat for the rest of the for the whole off season. If I'm correct that this comes in at 7.
I will say there's a difference between what it comes at and what it should come at.
All right, this is coming in at 7.
It should come at 8 or 9, really.
I don't think in the current power meta, no. I just don't. I don't see it. I agree with
on the rough power equivalent of Defender Vader.
Is this? No,
I would think so. Mainly because yes, Vader has his ability to spend a force to guarantee changing up blank into a hit result, right? But he doesn't have any defensive buffs, right? Sure, yeah, he can't get the free evade if you're running that version of Vader, or you could get the more aggressive version with the TIE Elite title and do double taps with the cannon and stuff. But in terms of pure offense, when you're comparing both of them, they're both going to be at I6. Jendon is definitely a lot more maneuverable than Vader, and with the ability to get that target lock action, he's going to likely be double modded across the board for his shots. Even if you're not shooting proton cannons, even if it's just a primary shot, you're likely going to be getting double modded shots all the time. with Jendon. So I would put this almost at the same power level as Vader. He
forget
just
his
doesn't have the
abilities.
extra force for the the conversions. But yeah,
But don't forget his ability is also defensive because if he has no shields, he can change a blank to a focus. So if he has a focus
That's
action,
true.
like that
That's
helps
true.
out a lot too.
Yeah.
I guess because you don't have to spend anything to get the free target lock.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also you can just do red maneuvers and then just take a strain and get an action instead.
Yeah, but if you're taking strain all the time, I guess as long as you're not getting shot at, then you're fine.
Yeah, I mean this Jendon will probably be like 4K, one bank, one hard, 4K kind of thing. Like I don't think you're going to be doing three maneuvers, speed 3 maneuvers every round. But you can always just do like a one bank and take the evade, and link it to a roll. Do whatever you need.
Yeah, I think I think there is also a downside if you are out like not getting rid of your strain, you can't take the strain and share the stress either. If you're not getting shot at, or if you 4K evade barrel target lock evade barrel roll and then switch it to a strain and nobody shoots you, you have to do the blue maneuver. So
which there's like a 2 through 5 straight in the one bank, so like it's you can still go fast if you need to, but I expect just a lot of like one banks out of the ship and just hit super hard.
Yeah,
we'll see. We will see. All right. Well, that was all of the reveals for this week. I don't know. Oh, they had a scenario card reveal that I guess maybe we'll go over next week. I don't know. I don't feel like going over it tonight. We're at 2 hours, so I don't feel. How about this? I'm not. I've stopped being as interested in in some of these scenario packs because they're not doing anything with them, right? Like they were. It was super fun to put Battle of Yavin on the table, but they're not doing anything tournament wise or anything like that. So I don't know. Like it's not as quite as enticing. As I'm more excited to get some of these insane pilots, which feel very insane. Like some of these pilots just feel very, very out there aggressive. So. Any passing thoughts, folks? Well, okay, how about this? Before we end, as we wrap up, what was your favorite card reveal so far out of the 4?
They're all so cool.
But which one is your favorite? You gotta have a favorite.
I don't even think I have a favorite here.
Okay.
Probably Tycho. I'd probably fly him more than most.
I think Jendon's my favorite, mainly because it's one word, and you can guess what that word is.
Chiss. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Endor.
Endor.
No, it's not Endor. It's Lions. It's the Lions. It's because it's the Lions is in there. Where's Greg? Greg, it's the Lions.
It's the Lions.
Yeah, my favorite is Soontir. So I like that Soontir. I've always liked putting Soontir on the table, and I know Charles used to hate it back when he was on the podcast years ago. So that was his that was his Torkel Mux ship that he hated, even though Torkel Mux sucks worse than can you imagine if we got a scum pack with Torkel Mux in it? Ugh.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't have this ability.
It'll never happen. We're never getting a scum pack, it seems. So maybe someday in future Crazy Land we will. So all right. Well, either which way, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I think next week, Sunday, let me double check my schedule. What's Sunday next week? The 17th. So next week, Sunday, will probably be the last podcast of the year unless our group chooses to do it during the week. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. Do you guys want to take a couple week break and come back in the new year afresh? I know the 24th and the 31st, I'm not going to podcast on either of those days because of family commitments.
Same. Yeah, and the other part of that too is that there's pretty much no store tournaments or store championships going on around that time, so it just makes sense to take the time off around that time.
So, So next week will be the last podcast for the year. We are going to take then 2 weeks off. Unless something crazy happens, and maybe we'll randomly stream some stuff. We might stream some games during the holidays for fun. Maybe if we would get a full Battle of Endor release, I would take a day where we could just stream silly, crazy stuff like that during it. Maybe we could take some of these pilots and we could put them in the current point system with what we feel they are at and play each other during the week. But in terms of the actual podcast, next week will be our final episode for the year. And then if we do some online streaming after that, we might do some of that depending on people's schedules. I have a couple of concerts coming up with the wife and stuff like that in the next couple of weeks. So with that being said, we will be back next week, bright and early, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2100 Eastern, or 100 UTC. Thank you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the Aftermath.